Hey guys, now let's review Dragonstar Varnir. I'll be checking its story, gameplay, graphics and music. So let's begin. The story presents us a soldier named Sephi, who's hunting a dragon, but things do not end up quite well for him. However, some witches find him in the verge of dying, and there is where they take the choice to give him some dragon blood. Dragon blood is supposed to just work on witches, so they were betting for a human. For their surprise, Sephi turns out to be a witch too. Here, there is a kind of interesting conflict because there are several factions. The humans in the Empire who hunt dragons and witches, ravens, also other humans, are solely interested in dragons, and the witches, trying to live their cursed life in peace. In this case, these witches tried to use Sephi as a prisoner to negotiate an exchange for her sister. This plan backfired because Sephi turns out to be a witch too. From this point onwards, we get to understand the kind of life witches have. Their painful life where they have two options, either dying hunting dragons for food to keep their inner dragon in control, but also after reaching a certain age, turning into one, because their inner dragon grows to that extent. It has a bit of everything, as it is an idea factory game. A bit of fan service here and there, some improvements in the relationship of our characters, and perhaps my main complaint is that at the end, it feels that some ideas were either rushed or something because everything pointed in a specific direction that would have been a much more interesting thing, but it turned out in something really different. It is an 8 to me. Regarding its gameplay, it has some interesting mechanics because there are different levels or heights once the fight starts, and there are different moves that can either cover a line of attack, area, or the 3 levels at once. Of course, the enemies can use those attacks too, and that brings a certain degree of complexity once you catch up to some bosses. Another cool mechanic is that you can devour dragons, acquiring new skills and passive abilities. Therefore, the more dragons you consume, more options are going to be available, and this can be the difference between having a tough fight or going a bit smooth. Some of these normal fights are hard, some others are a bit more of tactic, because not every dragon is able to withstand enough damage to be devoured. Some others escape from battles, so it depends a lot on who you're fighting. The boss fights against dragons are the ones where you need some specific skills to smooth the journey, otherwise you can brute force your way at some degree. The way to advance in the game is reaching a certain point, have a boss fight, and unlock a new area. The things that I didn't like is that some of these places are a bit short. The game presents you different mechanics to improve your equipment, but they are not particularly needed, maybe in higher difficulties. And sometimes in the Switch version, if the background dialogue disappears, hear the heck out of me, don't save the game, as it is not going to load the following scene so you can start the next chapter, but it is not going to give you access to the next area. You can lose some hours, and gladly this happened to me not so far in the game, so I just lost 2 hours. If it weren't because of those errors, I would say it is an 8. But with this issue, yeah, it's a 7. Just be sure to save before every fight, and that's it. The graphics of the game, even when it was originally released for the PS4, are not the best looking. And here, once again, we commit some of the classic scenes in RPGs, where we use the same sprites with different colors. Some designs are interesting, but some others not so much. In general, it is a colorful game. And one detail that I like is when companies use some enemies, not just in a specific game, but when they also export them to others. In this case, Mary Skelter, once again. Some dungeons have interesting atmosphere, quite intriguing design, and some others not so much. It is the same base, but with different arrangement. It is a 7.5. And for the music, it has a non-orthodox soundtrack in RPGs. Some tracks really match the moment either in dungeons or fights, bringing some quite epic sounds, pretty much for what is about to come. But in general, it has a cheerful soundtrack with air instruments, a lot of vocals, and it can throw a bit off guard the mix of sounds that the game has. However, it is an interesting one. Not so much in the normal combat tracks, but the general soundtracks that you can listen while in conversations, and some cinematics, it's pretty good. To me, it is an 8. Dragonstar Varnir final score is a 7.6. It is a decent game. It would have been better without the issues while finishing chapters, but other than that, that is good for the most part. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.